give comment, please refrain from doing that. We're going to try to hear from everybody who signed up for comment on all the subjects at the appropriate time. Please allow other speakers to talk.
Point of order. Secretary is out of order. It's not your meeting to manage. The chairman goes automatic. David, if you want to manage the meeting, fine. It's not Michael's meeting to manage.
Let me tell you,
Joel,
I cannot even hear you. Say it again, please.
Robert Rules of Order. We need the copy.
The board secretary is out of order in attempting to manage the meeting. It is your responsibility as chairman. If you don't want to do it, you can resign. Yeah, this is a large contract, $200 million per year. Can you explain why we've chosen not to use competitive bidding? Yeah. And specifically, can you address the point, the information that only came out on Monday when I asked the same question, that there's pending litigation against us because of competitive bidding for bus contracts?
I'll ask our legal counsel to answer the question.
There are two reasons I think I can speak for legal.
Yeah, this is a very complicated proposal, contract here, and my concern, and the reason I'll be voting against it, is that very little of this information that the panel needs to make a judicious decision was provided to us in any kind of timely fashion. This information about litigation was only offered because I asked about it. The first thing that we should have seen, and I still haven't seen, is an assessment of Logan's performance under the current contract, especially in the area of safety violations, abuse, misconduct. This is the time when we have to hold the vendors accountable. Accountability can't just be for teachers and students within the standard. So I don't see the point of it's indefensible for me to approve a contract with an existing vendor when no formal assessment has been done of that vendor's performance. The second issue, besides the litigation, is I understand that a number of busing vendors, there are various different proceedings against them, default hearings and like. None of that's been disclosed to the panel either. So again, this may be a very smart thing to do. It's that without the proper information, the panel, I'm not in a position to say this is the right thing or wrong thing. So I'm disappointed that we wouldn't postpone this a month, but I'm going to vote against this because, frankly, I haven't seen the case made for suspending competitive bidding and for proceeding with this particular contract.
Okay, any other comments? You have a question? Yes, Patrick.
Thank you. I discussed the proposed contract with Photo during the contract committee on Monday, and I'm going to recommend that the panel vote to reject this proposal, and I'll explain why, and you can feel free to comment on any of my rationale. Just so the audience knows, what we're proposing to buy here is is infrastructure, is software to deliver professional development online for $4.5 million. Now, my issues here is that I've not seen any evidence that we ran a pilot, that we asked the vendor to try out the software for free and demonstrate that it does what it's supposed to do. I haven't seen any business case, and by that I mean if you spend this $4.5 million, how will we save money elsewhere? I haven't seen a list of principals who are willing to use the software or any testimonials saying it does what it's supposed to do. I don't see a plan for what content will be delivered through this software. Finally, at a time when almost every single school in the city is slashing their professional development costs, I don't see the point of spending $4.5 million on an unproven piece of software. I have experience with this type of software in the corporate world, and it works very well if you have factual data that needs to be presented or an overview of a topic. Where it falls down is teaching a complicated or complex process. And looking around the room, I see some excellent teachers here, and I would submit that there is no more complicated process than the education of a child.
Thank you.
So the idea that true professional development is very valuable, but it's difficult to do. And I think the idea that we are going to hook teachers up to this machine and they're going to become better teachers is naive. I at least want to see that demonstrated before we commit these funds. So I urge my fellow panel members to vote no. Somebody should have said, here's the $30 million that we're not going to spend. Here are the exact courses, or the time, or the vendors we're going to use. We have a large budget. We have a $21 billion budget all in. And it's very easy to say, this thing is only this small percent of the overall budget. But every time you cut $4,000, $20,000, $25,000, that means teachers go. That means class sizes get bigger. That means art doesn't get delivered. And what my concern here, overriding concern beyond this contract, is the lack of fiscal discipline in the department. The department acts as if it's going to spend what it wants to spend, and anybody who asks a question or asks for a case or evidence of a pilot of success is a nuisance. Okay? It's not your money to spend as you see fit. It belongs to the
Panel members, you have